The Paycheck Protection Program, or better known as PPP loan, was created to help small businesses survive the economic hit of the coronavirus pandemic. The idea was simple: give out forgivable loans to businesses so they could keep paying their employees. But like any good intention, some people found a way to exploit it. Instead of using the money for their businesses, scammers jumped in, faked paperwork, and took the cash for themselves. So what happened? How did this massive program turn into a playground for fraud? Let's dive into the story behind the PPP loan scams and what went wrong. Make sure you subscribe to our channel and press the bell icon to get regular updates. Let's get started. The purpose of PPP loans. Before diving into the scams, it's essential to understand the original intent of the PPP. When coronavirus caused lockdowns across the globe, many small businesses found themselves on the brink of collapse. To prevent mass layoffs and business closures, the U.S. government passed the CARES Act, which introduced the PPP loans. The purpose was simple: provide forgivable loans to small businesses to cover payroll and essential expenses. This would not only help employees maintain their jobs, but also keep businesses afloat until they could reopen fully. The PPP loans were designed to be straightforward. Business owners could apply through participating banks, and if they used the money primarily for payroll, with at least 60% of the loan allocated for employee compensation, the loan would be forgiven. It sounded like a great solution. However, it didn't take long before scammers realized they could game the system. How did the scam start? Whenever there is a large influx of money and not enough oversight, fraudsters are bound to take advantage of the situation, and that's exactly what happened with the PPP loans. The program was launched so quickly that it lacked proper checks and balances, creating opportunities for dishonest individuals and businesses to exploit the system. With the urgency to get the funds out to struggling businesses, the government and banks didn't have the time to verify every piece of information meticulously. This created a massive loophole, as the program was largely built on trust. Applicants self-certified their eligibility, and banks were under pressure to process loans as fast as possible. Scammers wasted no time capitalizing on this. People began applying for loans using fake businesses, inflated payrolls, or submitting completely fraudulent documentation. Some even applied multiple times under different business names. The ease of access to these funds without stringent vetting opened the floodgates to criminal activity. Common types of PPP loan scams: fake businesses. One of the most common schemes involved people applying for PPP loans using completely fabricated businesses. They would make up business names, fake employee rosters, and even create bogus financial documents to meet the program's requirements. Since there was little verification in place, many of these fraudulent applications went through without a hitch. These fake businesses, of course, had no payroll to cover, and the loans were often spent on luxury items like cars, vacations, and real estate. Inflating payroll numbers. Another frequent scam was inflating the number of employees or the amount of payroll to get larger loans. Some business owners who did have legitimate operations would vastly exaggerate how much they paid their workers, or claim they had more employees than they did. Since PPP loans were largely based on payroll, this was an easy way to increase the amount of money they could receive. Double dipping. Some businesses and individuals applied for multiple PPP loans using different business entities. Even though the rules stated that each business could only apply once, people found ways around this by setting up multiple fake companies or using various banks to submit separate applications. This allowed them to collect several loans, often amounting to hundreds of thousands or even millions of dollars. Misusing the loan funds. The PPP loans were supposed to be used for specific purposes like payroll, rent, and utilities. However, once the funds were in hand, there was little oversight in how the money was spent. Scammers used the loans to splurge on personal luxuries, from purchasing new cars to buying high-end homes and jewelry. They treated the loans like a personal windfall, with no intention of ever using the money to save jobs or keep businesses afloat. Famous PPP loan scams that made headlines. While many PPP loan scams flew under the radar, some were so egregious that they made national news. One of the most notorious cases involved a Florida man who used $4 million in PPP loans to buy a Lamborghini, among other expensive luxuries. He was arrested and charged with multiple counts of fraud, and the story shocked the public as an example of how far people were willing to go to exploit the system. Another high-profile case involved a reality TV star from the show Love and Hip Hop Atlanta, who was accused of misusing over $2 million in PPP loans. He reportedly used the funds to pay off personal debts, including child support and leasing a Rolls-Royce. These cases, along with others, highlighted how widespread the fraud had become and how easily people were able to scam the system. The government's response to crack down fraud. Once the scale of the fraud became apparent, the federal government began cracking down on PPP loan scams. The Department of Justice, Small Business Administration, SBA, and Internal Revenue Service (IRS) all ramped up efforts to investigate and prosecute fraudulent PPP loan recipients. They launched numerous investigations into suspicious loan applications, using everything from financial records to social media posts to catch scammers in the act. In some cases, the fraud was so blatant that the scammers practically handed themselves over to authorities. For example, many individuals flaunted their newfound wealth on social media, posting pictures of luxury cars, expensive vacations, and designer clothes that they had purchased with PPP loan funds. These posts quickly drew the attention of investigators, leading to arrests and prosecutions. As of 2023, the DOJ had charged hundreds of individuals with PPP-related fraud, and many more cases were still under investigation. The government has been working to recover stolen funds, although experts say that some of the money may never be fully recouped due to the sheer volume of scams. The impact on small businesses. One of the most unfortunate consequences of PPP loan scams is that they overshadow the many small businesses that genuinely needed and benefited from the program. For every scammer who exploited the system, countless legitimate businesses used the funds to keep employees on payroll, cover rent, and stay afloat during one of the most challenging economic periods in recent history. The widespread fraud has also cast a shadow over future relief efforts. There is a fear that government programs may become more stringent, making it harder for legitimate businesses to access necessary funds in times of crisis. This balance between providing quick relief and preventing fraud will be a challenge for future policymakers. Lessons for future safeguards. The PPP loan scam saga has taught us several key lessons about the importance of oversight in emergency relief programs. While the government acted quickly to get funds out to struggling businesses, the lack of thorough vetting and the reliance on self-certification opened the door to widespread fraud. Moving forward, experts agree that future programs must strike a better balance between speed and accountability. Emergency funds are crucial in times of crisis, but they need to be paired with stronger safeguards to prevent abuse. This could include more rigorous application processes, better verification of business credentials, and ongoing monitoring of how funds are used. There's also a growing recognition that banks and financial institutions play a vital role in preventing fraud. Many banks were simply overwhelmed by the volume of applications and didn't have the resources to properly vet every loan request. However, stricter requirements for financial institutions could help to flag suspicious activity before funds are disbursed. PPP loan scams remind us that in times of crisis, both generosity and greed will rise to the surface. It's up to policymakers to ensure that future programs protect those who need it while making it much harder for opportunistic fraudsters to take advantage of the system again. What are your thoughts about this? Share what you think about this era of scams in the comments section below. Don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel for more updates. Thanks for watching.